The Arab Sugar Daddy and the Beautiful Indian Girl, a novel by Dr. Ahmed. This is a one-sided love story between a rich old Saudi man and a beautiful poor Indian girl. It has been written in English and translated into Arabic by Dr. Ahmed. It is an intriguing epic story narrated in 6 books. Book 1. The Arab Sugar Daddy falls in love with a beautiful poor Indian girl. Copyright. All rights are reserved. No part of this book may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means without the prior written permission of the author, except by the reviewer, who may quote brief passages from the review for printing in a general magazine, public newspaper, school journal, or university article. All characters in this novel are fictitious, and any resemblance to real people, living or dead, is purely coincidental. Chapter 35. The new cooperation between the two evildoers. In the meantime, the crazy old Arab lover, the sugar daddy, left no stone unturned as he desperately tried to find out what happened to his extremely beautiful Indian maid lover, Layla, aka Raihana Khan. For many days, Sheikh Faiz bin Ahmed tried several times to contact his Sudanese friend, but to no avail. His numerous phone calls, text messages, emails and letters to the finder of his beautiful Indian girlfriend, who was dearer to him than his unfaithful and adulterous Christian ex-lover Christy, went unanswered. When he called him after he was acquitted of the false terrorist plot and returned to Saudi Arabia, his Sudanese friend Babikir had been expelled from the foreign students' boarding school and had gone to live with the 4 Sudanese in their apartment in Fakula. But the Arab Sugar Daddy, Majnoon Laila al-Hindiya, left a phone message for him with one of Babikir's friends and his phone number in Saudi Arabia. In this way, the rich old man was able to find his former friend, the Sudanese pimp Babikir al-Awar, and through him he found his favorite Indian lover, Raihana Khan, and sent her 25,000 rupees, $500, 2 visas and 2 tickets. After some time, the old man concluded that his Sudanese pimp had simply stolen the airline tickets and visas, sold them to another travel and tourism agency, and deposited the huge amount of thousands of Indian rupees and $500,000 that he had stolen from him in a foreign bank in India. Sheikh Ahmed recalled that the Sudanese foreign student Babikir al-Awar was very penniless and was living as a beggar in the city of Bombay after he was expelled from the Muhammad Khan Tourism and Travel Company, and he had no one to support his studies in India. Therefore, he thought he had made a big mistake when he trusted this hungry and penniless Sudanese boy with this huge sum of money amounting to 40,000 rupees, Saudi visas, expensive airline tickets in addition to $500. $500 multiplied by 70 rupees equals 35,000 Indian rupees. Sheikh Ahmed thought that the bankrupt one-eyed Babakar would be a fool if he did not steal a huge sum like 75,000 Indian rupees in addition to 500,000 rupees worth of Saudi visas and air tickets. When he realized this heinous mistake that he had committed out of ignorance and foolishness, the angry old Arab sheikh slapped his cheeks forcefully with his hands and almost pulled his 2 large ears out of his square, bald head. He already suspected that the Sudanese boy wasn't as rich as him from the beginning. Therefore, he doubted that the money he sent to his beloved maid, Raihana Khan, had ever reached her, or that Babakar contacted or found her at all. In the cosmopolitan city of Bombay, you can sell anything, even your identity or body parts. Some poor Indians sold their kidneys to fraudulent doctors for illegal kidney transplants to treat sick rich Arabs or other wealthy Indians. Sometimes foreign students also sell their passports and other ID cards due to financial difficulties. The photo in the foreign passport will then be changed to the buyer's photo and used to go to any country he wishes to go to. Among the foreign students at the University of Bombay, Nigerian students are known for drug smuggling, and Somali students are widely known for the art of forging money and foreign travel papers to travel to European countries. Everything you want, from paper money to bank transfers, Somalis are masters of their craft. I did not mean to be a cruel or mean person in insinuating the poor Sudanese boy Babikir al-Awar as a pimp for the rich old Saudi. The one-eyed Babikir knew exactly why Sheikh Ahmed was interested in the beautiful Indian maid, Rayhana Khan. So excuse me if my opinion of him is less than excellent. By helping him send her home for a pittance in US dollars, or the promise of a Saudi work visa in exchange for an Indian rupee, and the promise that he would secure a future job as a translator, Babikir put himself in the position of a modern-day Sudanese pimp of the sexual slave trade among Arabs in India. A decent person should not help someone who wants a woman for his sexual pleasure, knowing that she has been deceived by offering a maid visa. The poor Indian woman Rayhana Khan is under the impression that the old Saudi gave her free visas and plane tickets as a gift because she is a Muslim like him, and he wants her to come to his rich country and serve him by working in his palace with one of his Saudi wives. He told her that he has 4 Arab wives and many children, and they have foreign domestic maids who work with good wages. Instead of that tempting promise, Rayhana's life and the life of her daughter Ifat were sold and traded between the broker and the rich buyer. The typical Arab man in petrodollar countries changes foreign maids annually as if he were trading a used car for a new one, or storing summer clothes for the winter, or vice versa. If in the first year he chooses a beautiful Abyssinian maid from Ethiopia, in the second year he chooses a beautiful one from the Philippines, in the third year he chooses a sexy girl from Indonesia, in the fourth he chooses an attractive girl from Pakistan, and in the fifth he chooses a beautiful-faced and attractive-bodied lady from India, etc., etc., etc. When the foreign maid arrives at his house, he either rapes her or buys her thighs for a few rials or dinars. The maid works as a slave to his wife during the day, and at night her sponsor uses her for his sexual pleasure and amusement. Sometimes the father and his adult children may share the body of the same maid in bed at night. A Pakistani policeman in a Gulf country was beaten to death by a mob of angry Arabs because he was quoted in a newspaper as saying that Pakistani girls who work as maids in Arab homes are sex slaves for Arab men. In the 1950s, the number of slaves in Saudi Arabia was estimated at 450,000, about 20% of the population of the sub-Saharan kingdom. The Saudis continue to this day to enslave people from all poor countries, while the United Nations, human rights organizations, and leaders of Western governments in the First World turn their faces the other way for the sake of the huge profit they reap from the oil countries. Sheikh Ahmed Sugar Daddy Al-Wallan decided to never give up on love. He thought that he made a mistake in his life by seeking the help of a poor black Sudanese slave. It was a huge, grave mistake. To take revenge for this and punish the damned Sudanese boy who cheated him and stole his money, tickets and visas from his beautiful and sexy Indian lover Rayhana Khan and her cute daughter Ifat, the old geezer, Sheikh Ahmed, thought he had to go back to his old partner in crime if he wanted to find his lost lover, the beautiful Layla, again. He is the criminal, the dangerous Muslim gangster Orgonda Muhammad Khan, his former Indian driver, and he will be his savior and last resort. Moreover, for a long time, he could not find any Indian travel agency willing to buy his visas. After much thought and disturbing suspicions about Babikir betraying him and stealing Rayhana's visas, tickets and a huge sum of money, Sheikh Ahmed called his former Indian counterpart in crime and apologized to him. Then he told him over the phone, while crying and shedding crocodile tears, how the foreign student, the Sudanese boy, the accursed black Negro Babikir, The one-eyed deceived him, may God curse him, and stole his Indian maid, Raihana's money, visas, and tickets. To hide his attempts to maneuver the outcome and failure, he claimed that it was Babakar who called him and told him that he could find his missing Muslim maid, Raihana Khan, prepare her travel papers and ship her over to his country in a short time. The resurrected zombie, Muhammad Satan Khan, has made a solemn promise with his right hand on his holy Quran that he will go very soon to find Raihana Khan and re-prepare her travel papers and get her on her way to her wealthy legitimate donor, her wealthy Arab sugar daddy, as soon as possible. He also swore by God Almighty and his noble prophet that he would seek revenge for this miscarriage of fairness and implement vigilante justice, and that the accursed black Negro slave, Babakir al-A'awar, would be found, arrested and sent to prison, never to see the light of day again. Sheikh Ahmed thanked his former driver, Muhammad Khan, repeatedly while crying before hanging up the phone. The evil Muslim man Muhammad Khan became so happy that he thought he had died and gone to heaven and was enjoying the 72 eternal virgins in paradise. His wealthy Saudi client returned to him, causing him to see dollar and rupee signs shortly. The first major business deal between the two villains took place soon after and included the recruitment of a large number of Indian nurses in Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Ministry of Health decided to change its previous methods of recruiting medical personnel, or nurses in particular. In the past, the ministry used to recruit foreign nurses from Western countries such as the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia. However, Western nurses demanded much higher wages than doctors who come from poor Arab countries such as Egypt, Lebanon, Jordan, and Sudan. White nurses knew their rights and constantly made new demands of having the same facilities and accommodations as doctors, demanding extra leave and pay, a lower workload, and so on. As a result, the Saudi Ministry of Health stopped recruiting nurses from Western countries and began recruiting Arab nurses from the poor Arab countries mentioned above. However, experience has shown that Arab nurses are not as qualified or diligent as their Western counterparts. Many patients complained about the mistreatment and disrespect of these Arab nurses, and sometimes they would abuse them and push them until they fell on the hard floor. Accordingly, when it became impractical to employ nurses from rich Western countries as well as poor Arab countries, the Ministry of Health decided to employ nurses from India. The pilot study showed that Indian nurses are highly qualified, caring, hard-working, and incredibly cheap to employ. In India, a nurse must be female. No man may work as a nurse. Indians believe that a nurse should be loving, caring, patient, pleasing, good-looking, gentle, and beautiful. According to them, those good moral virtues and attractive physical virtues combined can only be found in a female. Sheikh Ahmed obtained the contract to employ Indian nurses from the Saudi Ministry of Health. Under the contract, he has to employ 550 qualified, beautiful, and highly experienced Indian nurses. The ministry will send its medical staff to India, accompanied by the Saudi contractor, to interview the candidates. Sheikh Ahmed was awarded the contract by the time he resumed his work with Muhammad Khan Tourism and Travel Company. So, the rich old Saudi assigned the contract to his former driver. Along with the contract, Muhammad Khan is given the task of finding the missing beautiful Indian Muslim maid, Raihana Khan, and preparing her travel papers with her cute daughter, Ifat Khan. The wealthy Saudi businessman assigned the second Indian pimp 3 important tasks. Firstly, he must find his beloved maid, Layla, and instantly send her to his country as quickly as possible. Secondly, preparing to employ 550 beautiful and highly qualified Indian nurses. Thirdly, providing the necessary entertainment to the wealthy old man Sheikh Ahmed by having an exceptionally beautiful virgin Indian girl for sexual pleasure during his stay in his 5-star hotel. Mohammed Khan is another pimp for the voluptuous old Saudi. In the past, he sent 2 female employees to entertain him sexually in his room at the 5-star Taj Mahal Hotel. But Sheikh Ahmed was not happy with the 2 female employees with whom he had sex in his 5-star hotel room. The first employee sent to sleep with the rich Arab is the envious girl, Rukhsana Rahman. Sheikh Ahmed did not like Rukhsana. She has a nice-looking face, but her body is ridiculously thin. For an Arab man, a big butt, a big body, and huge breasts are considerably basic requirements in a female. Rukhsana lacks these essential feminine qualities. The second employee who sent for the Arab old geezer was her friend Tahira Ali. Sheikh Ahmed was not happy with the Indian Muslim girl Tahira Ali either. She has a large rear end and a stocky body, but lacks the face department. So the next time, Sheikh Ahmed gave precise specifications of what a suitable female should possess to satisfy him sexually in his royal king bed at the luxury hotel Taj Mahal Palace. The old man, Sheikh Ahmed, told his Indian client Mohammed Khan that his services as a pimp were weak, given the huge amount he had paid. He wants an employee who combines the qualities of Rukhsana's beautiful face and Tahira's sexy body. In other words, the desired employee must be an exact copy of the beautiful and sexy maid, Raihana Khan. The wealthy Arab sheikh can easily find a beautiful and sexy teenage Indian girl among the hundreds of prostitutes on the streets of Colaba or the brothels of Fairs Road, who may be 100 times more beautiful than Mohammed Khan's female employees. However, he is interested in a female employees for 3 reasons. The first reason, he doesn't like a prostitute because it's not safe to have sex with her without a condom. He hates condoms. The second reason is that he does not like to have sex with an ordinary girl who has been used and shared with hundreds of men before him. He likes a girl who is virgin or close to the showroom. The third reason is that the female employee comes to have sex with him because her circumstances forced her to sleep with her boss and provide sexual entertainment for his Arab clients. The rude old Saudi man loves to have sex with the girl who resists him and makes him feel as if he is raping her. It's an acquired taste, developed over a long period of time with the former Pakistani, Filipino and Indonesian maids he slept with against their wishes in his country. When the lustful old Saudi man demands that his next sexual provider have the face of Rukhsana and the body of Tahira, his Indian pimp, Mohammed Khan, decides to hire a new girl to meet those requirements. He advertised in local newspapers and paid for a place at the public information station about the need for a female employee with specific qualities and qualifications. He did not fully list all the requirements, but he encouraged all interested applicants to come in person and find out what Mohammed Khan Travel and Tourism Agency wants in a new employee. He mentioned in the advertisement that the generous salary is twice what he pays to his other female employees. When his 6 other female employees saw the advertisement on local television channels, radio stations and daily newspapers, they objected and demanded a salary increase. Mohammed Khan rejected their demands and told every employee that if she wanted a pay increase, she could quit her job, go to another travel agency, and seek higher pay. None of the girls left their work or dared to open their mouths again. However, one of his employees decided to take advantage of the new offer. He is the only employee who did not object to the high salary offered to the new female candidate because he is male. By then, the travel agency only had 1 male employee left. The other 2 male employees were falsely accused of serious crimes and thrown behind bars. Former employee Jamal Khan was arrested and later tried for robbery and rape, convicted and sentenced to 14 years imprisonment with hard labor. The so-called accursed black Negro, the foreign student Babakir Alawar, was also falsely accused of drug smuggling, arrested, and awaits trial. The suspected Sudanese boy faces a life sentence of up to 19 years if the Bombay Criminal Court convicts him of drug trafficking. According to strong evidence, he was caught red-handed because the Bombay Narcotics Control Police found drugs in his apartment, in his room, and inside his bag. Even if he denied the charge in court, he would still be convicted, sentenced to life imprisonment, and rot or die in a treacherous Indian prison. In addition, none of the 9 suspects on the drug charge have a lawyer to defend them in court. In such a case, the Bombay Criminal Court will appoint for them a Hindu lawyer who hates the foreign Muslim students, the black African Negroes, more than he hates the accursed Satan and his evil demons. The only remaining male employee is known as Javed Sheikh. When Javed learned that his workplace was offering a job with a much higher salary than other female employees, he informed his sister and encouraged her to come and apply in person. His sister is 16 years old. Her name is Zareen Sheikh. She is also an exceptionally beautiful and sexy Indian girl. When Zareen applied for the position, she was hired on the spot. The notorious womanizer Mohammed Khan hired Javed's sister because she met the specific requirements of the old Arab man and surpassed them. Then the Indian pimp picked up his phone and called his Saudi client. He told him that he found him an unbelievably beautiful girl who was also a virgin. Yes, the girl is exceptionally beautiful, but how did the slimy worm know that she was a virgin? Mohammed Khan is a Muslim man and knows the mentality of a Muslim man when it comes to women and sex. Virginity is a particularly important asset for an Arab man. That is why their prophet Muhammad promised them that every man among them would have 72 beautiful virgins in paradise. According to the prophet Muhammad, the virgins of paradise will remain virgins forever. How can a virgin remain a virgin forever after deflowering her by inserting a man's penis into her vagina? Let us see how the Prophet of Islam solved this puzzle. The Prophet was asked, "Will we have sex in paradise?" He said, "Yes, by the one in whose hand is my soul, and it will be done Dahman, Dahman." By this word, the Prophet described the process of sexual intercourse with such thrusting and violence. When the man's cock finishes fucking her pussy, the nymph of heaven will return pure and virgin again. According to this hadith, God either sews up the virgin's vagina after every time a man's penis enters it, or restores a new hymen and inserts it into her pussy. The number of those permanent virgins in paradise varied from one hadith to another. In one hadith, the Prophet Muhammad said that they were 72 virgins, and in another hadith, the number increased to thousands of them. To accomplish his other job mission, Mohammed Khan booked interviews for nurses' positions at a prestigious Islamic school and received more than 1,500 applicants. He would have received more than 5,000 applications within 1 week had he not closed the doors to prevent other interested candidates from entering. He must also put a note on the door of his travel agency written in large red letters. No more applications will be accepted. Under the guidance of the interview panel, Mohammed Khan was advised to collect as many applications as possible so that the panel could select the most qualified nurses. Therefore, when the number of applicants reached more than 1,500 young women, the Saudi Medical Interview Committee advised him to stop accepting applications. The interview committee consisted of 11 qualified doctors from King Fahd Royal Hospital in Riyadh City. Each member is supposed to interview 75 Indian nurses and select 50 of them. However, the overwhelming number of applications would require each member to interview 150 female candidates, select only 50 nurses, and send hundreds of others away. Chapter 36, Earthly Virgin of Paradise. 2 days before the important interview conducted with 1,500 nurse candidates, A small problem arose at the Muhammad Khan Travel and Tourism Agency. It is about the newly recruited Muslim girl who is considered a beautiful, earthly paradise virgin for the important Arab client. The employee Javed and the new employee Zareen hid their relationship from everyone at the travel agency, including their boss. Brother Javed pretended he didn't know his sister, and Zareen, the new employee, never told anyone that the only male employee at the agency was her brother. So everyone thought it was just a coincidence that they had the same last name as Sheikh. Khan and Sheikh are quite common last names among Indian and Pakistani Muslims. The problem has nothing to do with the hidden relationship between the new female employee and the only remaining male employee. The main cause of the problem is envy and jealousy among other female employees. When Muhammad Khan Travel and Tourism Agency announced the new job with a salary of 15,000 rupees per month, every girl in the office wanted it. All the female employees want the new position because each of them earns between 3,000 and 7,000 rupees. And the new job will make her earn more than double or 5 times her current salary. In addition, most of them have extensive work experience with Muhammad Khan Tourism and Travel Company. However, the greedy boss Muhammad Khan refused to promote one of them to the new position and sent several Indian girls who came to apply for the desired job. When Zareen Sheikh was appointed to this high-paying position, the other girls in the office started hating and treating her badly from day one. Her brother Javed does not like the way other girls treat his sister Zareen, but he cannot do anything to improve the matter because he has hidden his blood relationship with her from everyone. Whenever his boss invites his sister to come to his office, he hears the bad remarks the other girls say about her. One day, the envious employee Rukhsana took the lead in nastiness and said that Zareen was an employee because of her good looks and sexy body, and because she agreed to have sex with her boss every day inside his office. Rukhsana is a bold, jealous and stubborn young woman, and when she gets angry, she uses very vulgar street language. The girls agreed with her that if it weren't for Zareen's attractive figure and good looks, she wouldn't even be qualified to be a cleaner at Muhammad Khan Tourism and Travel Agency. Jealous girls are right. The beautiful Muslim girl, Zareen Sheikh, resembles the late beautiful girl, Bulbula Sheikh, who committed suicide because her evil boss raped her and impregnated her with an illegitimate baby outside the framework of a permissible halal Islamic marriage. The new employee also does not know how to write a complete sentence correctly in English or Hindi. She completed her school education in 10th grade in Urdu. She does not know how to write and type in English or Hindi or use a computer. She sits all day like the statue of the Hindu goddess Mahalakshmi or a beautiful Barbie doll or any other visitor or client in the office. The other girls do all the work, and she stares at them and fantasizes while she does absolutely nothing. Every now and then, she is called to her boss's office and spends a lot of time with him. Every time she goes to his office, the female employees who are jealous of her start whispering and gossiping in front of her brother. Her angry Muslim brother Javed Sheikh decided to put an end to all the office gossip behind her back. When he and his sister Zareen returned home, he asked her to complain to her boss about all the gossip and nagging that was happening behind her back. He told her about the kind of ugly things they say about her behind her back. He explicitly told her about the implicit accusations against her. The other girls accuse her of having a scandalous love affair with her boss and having sex with him like a whore inside his office. The next day, the beautiful employee, Zareen Sheikh, reported the matter to her boss. The pimp boss, Muhammad Satan Khan, decided to immediately put an end to this mumbling and gossip among the females in the office and called a special meeting to deal with the matter. He began by giving a corrective lecture to his female employees as follows. First of all, nothing is happening between me and Zareen. I did not hire her, but she was hired by one of my important Arab clients, the wealthy Saudi businessman Sheikh Faiz bin Ahmed. Her new position is called Foreign Academic Assistant Educator. The office girls had never heard of a job like this before. It is highly unlikely that the pimp Mohammed Khan himself knows exactly what his verbal job title means. She is required to be with my Arab client when he comes to Bombay to do his lucrative business. She is his Indian private secretary. She must educate him in culture and teach him Indian heritage. She must help him how to interact in the multicultural and multi-religious Indian society, especially how to deal with Indians wherever he goes. The bold and envious girl Rukhsana is the first to punch a hole in the job description of the new position. She got up to challenge him about what he said about the new employee's work. Rukhsana Rahman shouted, "Sir, but in what language will she teach, educate, and help her Arab employer?" The pimp boss became incredibly angry when his bold employee Rukhsana interrupted him. "How dare you interrupt me while I'm talking, and who are you to question me like I'm your employee?" "I'm sorry, sir, but this girl Zarin doesn't know anything. She cannot speak English or Arabic. She sits in the office and stares at us all day while doing absolutely nothing. I can speak and write in English and Hindi, and she only speaks and writes in Urdu." The boss shouted, "Shut up, you insolent employee, Rukhsana. If you ever dare tell me how to do my job again, I will personally kick you out of here with my feet up your dirty ass." His angry voice sounded like thunder, and Rukhsana was startled and slowly sat down on her chair. Her big mouth didn't help her because she was only 1 bit. After her angry boss threatened to fire her from his travel agency, he returned to his office, summoned the so-called beautiful foreign academic assistant teacher, Zareen Sheikh, and began telling her about her main duties. "Listen, dear Zareen, I know that these girls envy you, hate you, and want your high-paying position. If I were them, I would feel the same way about you too. But as I said, I assigned you to work for one of my foreign clients, a very wealthy old Arab man. He is a good Muslim man with good morals, but he wanted a beautiful Indian Muslim girl like you to be his private secretary. I lied to the female employees about your job duties, but you don't need to do anything for him except—" The pimp boss paused and looked at the new employee Zarin's face to see if she was bothered by what he was telling her. When he saw her face unobstructed by his agenda, he was encouraged to reveal the most important duty of that particular job, except that you are to be with him in his luxurious room in a 5-star hotel, and wherever he goes you have to accompany him. The evil Muslim boss, who works as an Indian pimp for the wealthy old Saudi Sheikh Ahmed, stopped and took a direct look at the face of the beautiful and sexy Muslim girl Zareen Sheikh. The new employee still has the same calm appearance. "Will you, my dear love, be able to do this for my wealthy Arab client who hired you?" "Yes, I can do that, sir," Zareen said with complete confidence. "Since you are a very understanding girl, I would like to tell you more about your duty. Look, Zareen, it is only natural that an exceptionally beautiful young Indian Muslim girl like you, when she is alone with a strange old man who is not her husband or a mahram like her father or brother in his luxurious hotel room, might be tempted and want to just touch her soft hand, her smooth cheek, her long hair, even kissing her on the forehead with a fatherly kiss. Our honorable Messenger Muhammad said, if a man and a woman are isolated alone in the company of each other, Satan is deemed to be their third partner. But remember, I told you that he is a devout Muslim man with good morals, and he performed the pilgrimage to the house of God in Mecca 7 times. He is a Muslim sheikh who is already married and has 3 chaste Saudi Muslim wives who have many children and grandchildren. If he wanted a beautiful new bride, he could marry a 12-year-old virgin in his Arab land. The Muslim pimp who was wooing his new victim stopped and checked the facial expressions of the so-called Indian Muslim foreign academic assistant educator. She didn't seem bothered by her appearance. "But I'm not sure what more he might ask you to do for him, but maybe he just wants to give you a fatherly kiss on your soft cheek, or your sexy lips, or a big brotherly hug for your tempting body." The devious manipulator stopped again, but this time he looked away from Zareen's face, worried that she might start objecting to the so-called fatherly kiss and brotherly hugging inside a strange man's bedroom in a luxury hotel. However, her lack of interest or objection confirmed to him that she was still accepting her sexual job duties. But out of envy, rather than good morals, he decided to cause a roadblock and keep one duty for himself. "But never allow him, my dear Honorable Zareen, to have sex with you. If the rich Arab sheikh gives you $1 million or 1 billion Indian rupees, never allow him to sleep with you and make you pregnant with a haram child without the required halal Islamic marriage." "Okay, sir." Her answer, "Okay, sir," sounded like Zareen might agree to have sex if she was tempted at the right price, and that upset the heart of the lustful boss. He wants to keep the beautiful and sexy girl for himself alone. After he went to prison and his grumpy old wife fired his favorite beautiful Muslim employee, the late Bolbola Sheikh, he did not get any particularly beautiful new employee to fill the gap created by the absence of the late beautiful 15-year-old Bolbola. "Well, my dear Zareen, which is all I can tell you about your duties, you will begin work as soon as your foreign Arab boss arrives in Bombay 2 days from today." "But sir," Zareen said quietly. She spoke as if she was afraid that the other jealous girls would hear her, and that's why she spoke in a whisper. The pimp, Muhammad Khan, waited to hear Zareen voice her objection to her new mission, but she remained in the same calm demeanor when she whispered again, "But sir," he said impatiently, "But what?" "But sir, do I need to tell my Muslim family that I will spend the night with my foreign Arab boss in his luxurious room in a 5-star hotel when he comes to Bombay in 2 days? The evil pimp boss felt like getting up from his chair and slapping the beautiful new employee, Zareen Sheikh, in the face with all the force he could muster. "Who said you would sleep with him in his luxury hotel room? You will work for him for the same number of hours and at the same time as you work for me. If he asks you to stay with him for 1 minute after 8 hours of work, tell him no." "Okay, sir." The Indian pimp, Muhammad Khan, does not like her indifferent and neglectful attitude. He couldn't believe that a Muslim girl could be so indifferent and couldn't care less about her honor. "Now go back to your table and don't tell those envious girls anything I said to you." "Okay, sir." After saying her final, "Okay, sir," the earthly heaven maiden Zareen got up and walked out of her boss's office just as she had entered. After all, it was just another day at the office, and she resumed sitting and doing nothing all day. As soon as she left, the pimp boss began to regret telling Sheikh Ahmed about her. He hates the fact that he chose her for the job, especially after she asked him if she should tell her Muslim family that her job required her to sleep with her foreign boss in his hotel room. If he had known she was so easy and eager to jump into bed and have sex with any man, he would have kept her to himself. Meanwhile, the beautiful Zareen returned to her table and sat in her chair as if nothing had been said to her. She is not in any way offended by what her boss suggested. She is not sad, afraid, humiliated, or anything like that. However, Zareen Sheikh is not the calm and carefree girl she pretended to be to her evil boss. She understood what her boss was suggesting and what he wanted her to do for his foreign client, the lustful old man. She knows that with her Urdu intermediate certificate in class 10, she could not get an office job anywhere in Bombay. She understood her unparalleled beauty and sexy body landed her an impossible, extremely hard to get, high-paying job, Who in Bombay would give a 10th grade girl who speaks and writes primarily in Urdu a salary of 15,000 rupees a month? It is understood that her circumstances will force her to compromise and accept certain conditions of work to keep her job. The highest paid girl in the office is the jealous and bold girl, Rukhsana, who receives 8,000 rupees a month. Next to her is the ugly Jamila Malik, who receives 6,000 rupees, and the least paid is Fatima Al-Zahra, who receives a monthly salary of 4,000 rupees. This last beautiful girl and another sweet girl named Shabana Shah were hired after the lustful boss came out of the cell and returned to his travel agency and found his jealous wife had fired his two favorite girls, the beautiful Bolbola Sheikh and the sexy girl Tabassum Sirajuddin. The late, beautiful, voluntarily raped Bolbola Sheikh, who became pregnant illegally by her evil boss and then committed suicide, used to receive a monthly salary of 3,000 rupees in the agency before she was fired. Then she became a maid in the homes of the rich, receiving 300 rupees a month. She worked as a slave for the rich wives and a sex slave for their rich, evil husbands. The beautiful so-called virgin of earthly paradise Zareen Sheikh loves a Muslim boy who is 7 years older than her. Her handsome lover has been mostly unemployed for more than 5 years. He is one of the 7th grade dropouts from an Islamic school which instructs its students in the Urdu language. So his limited education in Urdu would not even qualify him to work as a janitor in any office in Bombay. For 5 years, he worked blue-collar jobs as a coolie, carrying bags for passengers at the railway station, carrying heavy loads of cement bags on his head, and climbing a ladder 10 to 15 stories high, manually pulling cement-laden wagons and various goods, etc. During those 5 years, he worked from hand to mouth. He did not save anything from the little money he earned. He proposed to his beautiful Muslim lover, Zareen Sheikh, 3 times, and each time her Muslim father rejected his marriage proposal and kicked him out of his small hut. Zareen loves her boyfriend to the point of no return. To her, he is the handsome Bollywood hero Amitabh Bachchan, and she is the beautiful cinematic heroine Hema Malini to him, and he is also her Romeo, and she is his Juliet, and just as he is the crazy Arab lover Kais, and she is his beautiful Arab lover Laila. He is a very handsome Muslim guy, and she is an unbelievably beautiful Indian girl. Therefore, the beautiful girl Zareen worships him as her hero in Bollywood's films, and he worships her as an Indian film star. When her father rejected his engagement for the 3rd time in a row, Zareen lost hope of marrying the boy of her dreams. The moment she got the golden opportunity of a lifetime of 15,000 rupees job, her hope revived, and she decided to stick to her job with her hands and teeth. Why would she care about her honor if an old Arab man wanted to kiss her on the cheeks, or kiss her on the lips, or hug her, and hold her in his arms for a few minutes inside his luxurious room in a 5-star hotel? Even if he asked for more, she would interact with him until she found a way to be wife and husband with her handsome lover. She has the same cunning, intelligent mind and secret sexual plan as the former Indian Christian wife of the wealthy Sheikh Ahmed, Christina Lopez, known as Christy, that wise and bold Indian girl who divorced her lustful old Arab husband, expelled him from his luxurious palace, and married her handsome Christian friend, Bobby. Likewise, Zareen believes that her new, high-paying job can help her obtain an entry visa to a rich Arab country from her wealthy Arab employer, Sugar Daddy, and then she can take the boy of her dreams with her and live with him in one of the paradises of the Arab oases in the Sahara Desert, happily ever after. Every Indian wants to go to one of the OPEC countries, Organization of Arab Petroleum Exporting Countries, or immigrate to a Western country such as America, Canada, or Australia. Some poor people sold their homes to buy visas to go to an oil country or paid huge sums of cash to travel agencies to obtain immigrant visas to the USA, Australia, or Canada. Every week, thousands of Arabs and Africans risk their lives while trying to cross the Mediterranean Sea in rickety fishing boats through human smugglers to reach the European coasts. Hundreds of them drown every day, along with their women and children, and their bodies become food for sharks. On that day, the new employee Zareen did not tell any old employee about her job duties assigned to her by the pimp. When she returned to her family hut after work, she did not tell her brother Javed or anyone else a single word about what her Indian boss had said about her official duty to her rich old Arab manager, Sugar Daddy, who had hired her as his private secretary. Her Muslim pimp boss made it clear that she should keep her mouth shut, while the sweet and sexy secretary Zareen Sheikh awaits the arrival of her rich foreign boss. Mr. Muhammad Khan sends some of his most trustworthy criminal friends, led by a creepy Muslim gunda, to search for the missing beautiful Muslim maid Raihana Khan in the largest slum in Asia and the second largest slum in the world. Dharavi neighborhood, inhabited by millions of poor people and the poorest of the poor Indians. It took the thugs 6 days to locate her hut. Raihana Khan's sons and mother are found inside the poor hut, but the beautiful Layla and her cute daughter Ifat are not there. According to the old mother, her daughter Raihana and her granddaughter Ifat traveled to the rich Arab country where the Holy House of God and the shrine of the Prophet Muhammad are located. Being Muslims themselves, the Muslim gangsters understood what the old mother meant. Is the kingdom Saudi Arabia? Then they used their mobile phones and took many pictures with the old mother and her 5 young grandchildren as strong evidence of their success in their mission to find the hut of the missing maid and wanted woman, Raihana Khan. The thugs followed the same wise idea of the arrested black Negro Sudanese foreign student Babikir al-Aawar by enlisting the help of a Muslim policeman to find Raihana Khan's slum hut in the Dharavi neighborhood. Without the help of the Muslim policeman, it would have been for the Muslim gondas like searching for a single ant in the Amazon rainforest. The only difference is that the members of the Muslim gang did not bribe the policeman, but rather frightened him by telling him that they would kidnap and rape his beautiful Muslim wife, Fatima, and their young 7-year-old daughter, Aisha, if he refused to take them to the hut of the beautiful Muslim woman who was falsely accused of being a terrorist suicide bomber who was supposed to blow up an Indian plane, is on its way to Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. The frightened policeman told them that he was ready to show them the homes of the 3 Indians who were accused in this false terrorist plot: Raihana Khan, Muhammad Khan, and Jamal Khan. Despite presenting photos as evidence to Mr. Muhammad Khan, along with the startling report of the mother Raihana and daughter Ifat leaving India and flying to Saudi Arabia, he still refused to believe his messengers. He repeatedly asked himself how Raihana Khan and her daughter Ifat Khan could travel to Saudi Arabia without their valid Indian passports. He is quite sure of the fact that it was he who received their passports and burned them to ashes. Also, he remembered that Raihana's previous passport was stolen by anti-terrorism police in Bombay and sold to that ugly old Indian woman who went to Saudi Arabia and claimed to be the maid, Raihana Khan. To clear his doubts, he picked up his phone and called the Worli passport office and inquired how many passports had been issued to Raihana Khan and her daughter Ifat Khan. His spy checked the computer and gave him all the details regarding the separate dates and addresses that were used to issue passports to Raihana and her daughter Ifat, twice for both of them. The spy assured him that Raihana Khan did not come to apply for new passports for the 3rd time after he sent their second passports to the Muhammad Khan Tourism and Travel Agency. At first, Mr. Mohammed Khan thought that the Gonda thugs had tricked him by taking some pictures of some Dharavi slum children and their old grandmother and presenting them to him as proof of getting the rest of their money. How does he know that these are Rayhana's children and her mother? If so, he thought it best to use the more capable gang of Muslim Gandas for this difficult task. They would be more apt to find the lost and wanted beautiful Indian maid who is more precious than gold and silver for her Arab lover, sugar daddy, and at the same time, he would have a reason to get his money back from these incompetent Gundas. But before he implemented this new plan, he decided to check the Bombay Sahara International Airport. He picked up his phone and called the international airport and spoke to one of his spies there. When the spy checked the computer, he confirmed the low-level First Gonda gang's claim. The computer showed that two Indian passengers, Rayhana Khan and Ifat Khan, had actually traveled on a Saudi jumbo jet to Jeddah International Airport. Mr. Muhammad Khan then asked the spy to know what kind of travel documents those Indian passengers used to travel outside the country. The spy told him that the passenger must have a valid Indian passport, a Saudi visa, and an airline ticket to travel to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia or take any flight outside the country. The computer did not show anything indicating that the two passengers, Rayhana and Ifat, did not have the necessary travel documents. Instead of thanking him, the angry, ungrateful, stupid boss shouted at the spy at the international airport because he failed to prevent Rayhana Khan and her daughter Ifat Khan from leaving the country. The spy refused to provide an explanation or apologize to Muhammad Khan, and instead abruptly hung up the phone. Left with no choice, the evil pimp paid the rest of the money to the Gundas of the Muslim gang and waited impatiently for the arrival of his Saudi client Sheikh Ahmed to reveal to him the unbelievable news about his beautiful maid, Rayhana Khan, who had flown with her cute young daughter Ifat Khan from India and headed to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Chapter 37. Beauty and the Beast. Sheikh Faiz bin Ahmed and the 11 Saudi doctors arrived in Bombay one day before the day of the general interview for 1,500 Indian nurse candidates. It's Saturday morning. The doctors were booked at the Oberoi Hotel, while Sheikh Ahmed was booked at the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. Mr. Mohammed Khan made the accommodation arrangements under the guidance of his Saudi client. Sheikh Ahmed does not want the Saudi doctors to know what he plans to do in his hotel room with the beautiful, virginal 16-year-old Indian girl whom his call service pimp has found for his sexual entertainment and booked for him alone. Upon his arrival at the Taj Mahal Hotel, Sheikh Ahmed took a taxi to the Mohammed Khan Tourism and Travel Agency. He is keen to consult his Indian pimp on some matters concerning his missing beautiful maid, Rayhana Khan, and to see the virgin of earthly paradise who was hired for his sexual entertainment in his hotel room. He also wants to know what Mohammed Khan did to the black Sudanese slave boy who cheated him and stole his money. Upon his arrival, Mohammed Khan called the new employee Zareen Sheikh and introduced her to her foreign boss. The Saudi sugar daddy became incredibly pleased with the beauty of the virgin of earthly paradise. However, the new employee's 16-year-old Muslim girl, Zareen Sheikh, seems to him mediocre in beauty and sensuality compared to the beautiful, sexy, sensual and feminine Indian Layla called Rayhana Khan. So, as soon as the so-called beautiful foreign academic assistant teacher left the office, Sheikh Ahmed inquired about his missing beautiful maid, Rayhana Khan, and whether the accursed Sudanese black slave had received his punishment. The Indian Muslim pimp told his rich Saudi Arab client that he had already found the evil black Sudanese foreign student Negro boy, Babikir al-Awar, and sent him to prison forever. Sheikh Ahmed felt great relief. and expressed his appreciation for the good work done by his Indian partner in crime in punishing the fraudster and the thief of money, visas and airline tickets, Babakir, the dreaded Black Negro. Regarding his missing beautiful maid, Raihana Khan, and her cute daughter Ifat, the damned devil Muhammad Khan decided to be half honest. According to his trusted spy at the Worli passport office, Sheikh Ahmed was told that the new passports of the maid and her daughter were mailed to the residence of the Sudanese black monkey slave, Babakir Alawar, in his apartment in Vakola Colony at Santa Cruz. It appears that he sold the Indian passports, the 2 Saudi visas, and the 2 air tickets to another travel agency. Of course, this is a big lie, because he received the 2 passports in his office and burned them to ashes. The truth of the matter is that Muhammad Khan was overjoyed when he informed Sheikh Ahmed of the astonishing news he had received from the Muslim gundas of thugs and also from his spy at the Bombay International Airport. The Indian pimp told his Arab client that Raihana and her daughter Ifat somehow managed to board the plane heading to Saudi Arabia, and in any case, they were allowed to travel outside their country without their passports. But the despicable Muslim pimp did not reveal to his wealthy Saudi client that he had obtained their Indian passports and destroyed them. The crazy Arab Qais refused to believe that the beautiful Indian Layla and her cute daughter Ifat had arrived in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia without their Indian passports until his pimp swore to God while placing his right hand on his Holy Quran, and also to divorce his ugly old Muslim wife, if what he said was not the absolute truth. Halfway through, thinking that this was too good a story to be a true tale, Sheikh Ahmed thanked his Asian nation's pimp and asked him to send his beautiful foreign academic assistant educator, Zareen Sheikh, as soon as possible to his luxurious room in the 5-star hotel in the Taj Mahal Palace. This is so he can start working with her on his king-size bed while she is in her lingerie and bra. Before Sheikh Ahmed arrived in Bombay, entered his office, spoke to him, and then left, Muhammad Khan was planning to send him the beautiful young maiden of earthly paradise. However, when the so-called earthly virgin of paradise, the sweet Zareen Sheikh, came and stood in front of him, and he saw her beautiful face and sexy body, and also examined her from top to bottom, the notorious womanizer changed his mind. Muhammad Khan has already asked Zareen to agree to everything except sex with Sheikh Ahmed. Zareen gave her word and promised her Indian boss that she would not sleep with the old Arab man, even if he gave her 50 million Indian rupees or $10,000, or promised to buy her a palace in Bombay after marrying her. But from the moment she came and stood before him, his evil heart began to doubt her resolve. He knew her as a happy-go-lucky, carefree, stupid girl who didn't care about her honor. She may agree to have sex with the wealthy businessman, the old Arab geezer, if he tempts her with a few $100s and promises to have a job for her in his country, as he did before with his 2 Indian lovers, the Christian girl Christy and the Muslim maid Raihana. Despite his uncontrollable sexual desire and insatiable lust, Muhammad Khan decided to keep his promise and send the attractive maiden of earthly paradise to the hotel room, but he also decided to make sure that the Arab sugar daddy, Sheikh Ahmed, would not be able to kiss her sweet lips, hug her erotically, or rape her when she was alone with him in his room, or even touching her sexy body, or caressing her large breasts, or pressing her large buttocks with his old dick, or having sex with her tight pussy. Therefore, the Indian boss decided that he will be the first man to penetrate her virgin pussy with his cock and steal her virginity before her foreign boss, Sheikh Ahmed, does so to her. Before he implemented his plan, he explained it completely to the beautiful Indian beauty, Zareen Sheikh, and told her not to disappoint him. The earthly virgin of paradise gave her word to her lustful Indian superior and swore by God, her noble prophet Muhammad, and the blindness of her beautiful eyes, that she would do everything he told her to do. Meanwhile, that day is considered one of the most sexually exciting days in the life of the rich, old Arab sugar daddy. His mind is preoccupied with the problem of the whereabouts of his beloved maid, the beautiful Indian Layla, at this point, and his penis is thinking about the beautiful maiden of earthly paradise, who is supposed to come to his hotel room to entertain him sexually. But the arrival of his beautiful and sexy Indian Muslim lover, Rayhana, and her cute daughter Ifat at Jeddah International Airport without their Indian passports was occupying most of his thoughts. While he was thinking about their puzzling matter, something suddenly entered his mind. Although Muhammad Khan is an evil genius at doing evil to others and deceiving people, that day he made a huge mistake that would soon expose him for what he really is. Sheikh Ahmed discovered this mistake himself upon his arrival at the hotel. He's about to see how fragile his new, restored partnership with his deceitful and greedy Indian pimp is. He asked himself if the bankrupt Sudanese foreign student Babakir Al-Awar had deceived him and stolen the 2 airline tickets and the 2 Saudi visas and sold them to another travel agency, how did his beautiful maid, Rayhana Khan, and her cute daughter, Ifat Khan, traveled from Bombay and reached Jeddah? The information which Muhammad Khan said he obtained from his trusted spy at Bombay Sahara International Airport revealed that Rayhana and her daughter Ifat traveled from India to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with all the necessary travel documents for them. Muhammad Khan then contradicted himself and said that they did not have Indian passports but had 2 air tickets and 2 Saudi visas. This means that his Sudanese friend, Babakir Al-Awar, did not lie to him and did not steal the Saudi visas and travel tickets of the maid, Rayhana, and her 7-year-old daughter Ifat. The logical conclusion is that the Sudanese boy actually found the missing beautiful Muslim maid, Rayhana Khan, and her Indian daughter Ifat Khan, and gave them their Saudi visas and plane tickets. Sheikh Ahmed expected that the Indian passenger, Rayhana, and her daughter Ifat would be detained at Jeddah International Airport because they traveled on the Saudi plane without their Indian passports. He also expected that the airport employees would communicate with his office from Jeddah International Airport because he was their Saudi sponsor. Then, Arab Sugar Daddy realized that his next step would be to arrange the release from the airport of his beloved Rayhana and her young daughter, Ifat. The airport may not allow him to take his Indian maid and her daughter to his home without presenting their valid Indian passports. If he fails to convince the international airport officials to allow them to enter the city or to show their valid Indian passports, Rayhana and her daughter Ifat may be arrested, tried and deported to India. Therefore, his main concern is to obtain new, valid passports for them before sending them back to their country. Sheikh Ahmed's mind became so preoccupied with how to rescue his beloved Layla al-Hindi from the police at Jeddah International Airport that he forgot the beautiful, fresh maiden of paradise, who would soon be lying naked in his bed until the doorbell to his luxurious room started ringing. He got up from his bed, opened the door, and saw the beautiful maiden of earthly paradise, Zareen Sheikh, standing in front of him like a beautiful angel who had descended from heaven. His cock immediately stood up like a Ramadan cannon, and if he had not been afraid that she would run away from him in panic, he would have jumped on top of her and raped her at the door. He wanted to cradle her sensual body in his arms and lead her straight to his bed and start doing business on her sexy body. But he suddenly stopped when he saw another girl standing right behind her. At first, he thought the other girl was a hotel housekeeper who had come to clean his room. He decided to ask her to leave and not come back until he called the front desk and ordered room service. But then he slowly realized that he had seen that girl's face that very day at Muhammad Khan Tourism and Travel Agency. She is the ugliest and skinniest Indian girl he has ever seen in his entire life. She has a flat chest and no buttocks at all. She is also fleshless, as if she is skeleton of a zombie rose from her grave. She then came forward and introduced herself to him, saying that her name was Jamila. When she said that her name was Jamila, which in Arabic means a very beautiful girl, his hatred for her increased. Sheikh Ahmed did not allow the beautiful earthly virgin of paradise Zareen and the ugly girl Jamila to enter his hotel room. Rather, he kept them waiting at the door and returned to his room and called the travel agency's phone. The lustful old man asked his Indian pimp why he sent the ugly girl Jamila with his beautiful earthly paradise maiden Zareen. The pimp told the angry old geezer that Zareen refused to go meet an Arab man alone in his hotel room. She said that she was afraid that the old Arab man would jump on her virginal body and rape her because of her beauty inside his hotel room. She also said that she heard that most Arab men are sexual deviants, and that is true. She also said that she is a good Muslim girl, and her Islamic religious female teacher taught her when she was in her Islamic school madrasa that the Prophet Muhammad said when a man and a woman are isolated alone with each other, Satan will be their third partner. Therefore, she said that she did not want to be alone with a man who was not her legal Muslim husband or a mahram, such as her father or biological brother. Being alone in a haram khalwa means when a man and a woman who are not married and not related by blood are in a place alone, and this is a forbidden act and a grave transgression in Islam. The Indian pimp then told his Arab client that even though he threatened to fire the beautiful virgin girl from her lucrative job, she said she would rather quit her high-paying job than go meet a foreign man alone in his hotel room and stay with him without her mahram chaperone. The virgin Muslim girl insisted that if another Indian girl did not go with her, she would not go anywhere alone. The other girl, Jamila, is also one of his Muslim employees, and for this reason the pimp said he had to send another Indian girl with Zareen. However, the pimp somehow put some hope in the angry old man's heart by telling him to try to trick the ugly girl Jamila by sending her somewhere to buy food and drink, or when she goes to the bathroom, he locks her inside by locking the door from the outside, or some other cunning trick like that. With some tricks suggested by his pimp, the wealthy old sugar daddy returned to his two female guests and welcomed them with a frowning face. Despite 3 hours of trick-or-treating, nothing worked. It is as if the two girls are stuck together at the hip or glued together. Neither of the girls stayed with the old man whenever the other left the room to buy food, or do a task such as making the bed, or searching for the best Arabic channel on satellite television. They both went to the bathroom together 4 times. Whenever one girl said, "I'm going to pee," the other said, "I need to pee too." When all the tricks did not work, Sheikh Ahmed decided to give alcohol to them. He wants you to liquor them up and get them drunk so that he can rape the Virgin of Heaven, Zareen, while Jamila, the ugly, is dead drunk. But the ugly Jamila said that she had never drunk alcohol in her life and would never touch the haram or forbidden drink. She said that the Holy Quran said that intoxicating wine is not a halal drink for Muslims. But the beautiful Zareen admitted that she had drunk alcohol before and became dead drunk, but with her handsome Indian boyfriend. She said that she made a covenant with her eternal Muslim lover that she would never drink alcohol with any man other than him. When the lovely Zareen mentioned that she had a handsome boyfriend, drank alcohol with him, and got so drunk, it led the old Arab geezer to suspect that the Indian pimp had deceived him about her virginity and strict religious adherence to Islam. Finally, the old beast, the Arab sugar daddy, got fed up with the two girls and kicked them out of his room so quickly that their heads were spinning. But it doesn't matter if they are dismissed as unwanted guests, because this is the most extravagant and most enjoyable day they have ever had in their entire lives. The two girls enjoyed the most delicious and expensive foods and drank all kinds of sweet drinks and juices. That's why they went to the bathroom 4 times together. Sheikh Ahmed knew that Muhammad Khan had deceived him. He concluded that the beautiful Muslim girl Zareen Sheikh did not say that she did not want to come alone to his hotel room, but the evil pimp imposed certain conditions on her, saying that she needed another Muslim girl to come with her. Even if she asked him not to go alone unless the ugly girl Jamila came with her, he thought that his previous car driver had given in to her threats and demands because he wanted to keep the beautiful teenage girl, Zareen, for himself, and that he wanted her to be his eternal secret sexual concubine because he had an ugly, hag, old Muslim wife. One of the bad habits of Arab clients in India is that they always insist on seeing the wives and daughters of their Indian clients. For this reason, Sheikh Ahmed in the past invited Muhammad Khan and his wife to dinner at his five-star hotel. When the old man saw his Indian client's wife, he wondered why he had agreed to marry such an ugly Muslim woman. All Arab and Muslim men in Middle Eastern and North Africa countries want to visit the homes and apartments of their foreign friends and see their women, but they always hide their Arab women in their homes, just like totem animals, that no one can see or approach them. Muhammad Khan's wife is called Ghazala Khan, which means the beautiful young deer. This Indian gazelle is supposed to be called Al-Kabeha Khan, which means ugly woman. She is ugly in her character and morals, in her heart and body, like her despicable husband, Muhammad Khan, the Antichrist, or Satan, who betrayed her. Chapter 38. He fell into the pit he had dug. After his great disappointment towards the beautiful teenage girl, Zareen, Sheikh Faiz bin Ahmed became terribly angry and realized that the Muslim man, Muhammad Khan, was the one behind the arrest of the innocent Sudanese boy, Babika. The evil Indian man openly admitted that he had sent the black Negro foreign student, Babikir, to prison forever. Since the Sudanese boy Babika handed over the 2 visas and tickets to the maid Raihana Khan, why did his former Muslim boss implicate him in a crime and put him in serious trouble with Indian law? Sheikh Ahmed immediately picked up his mobile phone and asked this question to his Indian business partner. Muhammad Khan told him that he followed his orders and did what he wanted him to do. He punished the dreaded black Negro slave by charging him with the profoundly serious crime of drug smuggling. He proudly admitted that he was the one who paid money from his pocket to some evil Muslim gangsters, sent them drugs, and ordered them to hide them in the bag of the African foreign student Babakir Hussein Osama in his apartment. While laughing, the incarnate devil said that it was he who made an anonymous phone call from a public phone to the Bombay police and reported drug trafficking activity in the apartment of the 5 African foreign students and gave their address. Sheikh Ahmed regretted that he had asked his former driver to punish his innocent Sudanese friend, Babakir al-Awar. But he knew it was too late. He cannot do anything now to save his Sudanese friend. After speaking with Muhammad Khan, Sheikh Ahmed visited the International Students' Hostel in Churchgate and inquired about his best foreign friend. He wants to know exactly what crime Babakar was arrested for. Some Sudanese students told him with tears how some bad guys hid drugs in Babakar's bag inside his apartment, and he was accused of the most horrific crime in all of India. They also told him that Babakar would be tried, and most likely after 3 years he would be convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment. Sheikh Ahmed thought that because of him, the Sudanese boy's life was ruined. However, he did not shy away from the terrible evil that had happened to Babakar at his instigation. His main concern is to visit him in prison and find out why he did not reissue valid Indian passports to Raihana and her daughter Ifat, and why he sent them to Saudi Arabia without proper travel papers. Babakar saw some hope when his wealthy Saudi friend came to visit him in Arthur Road jail. He asked him to hire a Muslim lawyer to represent him before the Bombay Criminal Court and defend his case. The poor Sudanese student swore to God Almighty and his noble messenger Muhammad, may peace and prayers of Allah be upon him, that he was innocent of the drug charge, just as the wolf was innocent of Joseph's blood. Joseph is the son of Jacob, who known as Israel. His brothers threw him into the pit to get rid of him. Then they took him out and sold him to an Ismaili caravan heading to Egypt. Then they claimed that a vile beast had eaten him. Sheikh Ahmed gave an empty promise to Babakar without intending to fulfill it. He said he would find a good Muslim lawyer and appoint him for him and for his other innocent Sudanese friends and their 4 girlfriends. But the old man, deep down in his heart, decided never to waste a single rupee again on another Indian lawyer. He had learned a good lesson from his experience with his beautiful ex-wife, Christy, the Christian girl who stole his money and kicked him out of his luxurious residence with her high heel up his dirty ass. Why would he spend another rupee on a useless Muslim lawyer when the law allowed his legitimate Christian wife to replace him with her much younger Indian lover? During his conversation with his Sudanese friend, Sheikh Ahmed learned that Babakar found Raihana and handed over the entire amount of money he sent to her, the 2 visas and the 2 tickets. The imprisoned Sudanese boy then informed Sheikh Ahmed that he had not asked Raihana and her daughter Ifat to travel outside India without their valid Indian passports. He said that the passports were supposed to arrive at his address, but he was arrested before they were delivered to him. He then gave the address of his apartment in Vakola colony to Sheikh Ahmed and asked him to go there and inquire from the colony secretary whether the passports had arrived by mail or not. The old man's main concern is to obtain these 2 passports to save his beloved Layla and her cute daughter from prosecution and deportation to their country. So he took a taxi from Arthur Road Jail and traveled to Vakola colony and met the secretary. The Indian man became happy to meet a rich Saudi businessman. He provided him with all the details about the activities of the Sudanese youth who were living in one of the apartments before their arrest. He even swore to all his Hindu gods that he was certain that all Sudanese students and their foreign girlfriends were innocent of drug charges. He said it was most likely that an evil Indian who hated black African students had hidden the drugs in one of their bags. Sheikh Ahmed does not care about these details because he knows who that evil Indian person is. But in order to gain the secretary's trust, he listened to him. When he asked him about the 2 passports, the secretary said that he knew nothing about them. The Indian man then informed the Saudi man that the apartment now had new tenants, who moved in shortly after the arrest of the black African Sudanese students and their 4 foreign girlfriends. The new tenants are foreign Arab students who came to study in India at Bombay University from Jordan and Israel. Sheikh Ahmed asked the secretary to introduce him to these Arab students. When the Saudi man met the Arab students, they told him that they did not see any Indian passports in their mailbox. Sheikh Ahmed asked one of the Arab students to go with him to the passport office to investigate the matter of the 2 missing passports. The Arab student agreed to help, and the wealthy Saudi man paid him for his time. On the same day, they went to the passport office and had a good time. At the Worley Passports Office, the wealthy old man paid a large bribe to obtain information about the missing passports of his beloved Raihana and her daughter. The bribery worked perfectly and revealed the exact reason for the mysterious disappearance of the 2 Indian passports. The passports were reissued and sent to the Muhammad Khan Tourism and Travel Agency office via courier. Thus began the search for the missing passports and ended with the evil boss, Muhammad Khan. Sheikh Ahmed immediately felt that he had to take revenge for his humiliation and break off his partnership with his former car driver, who had stolen and destroyed his beloved Raihana and her cute daughter Ifat's passports. Not only did he destroy their passports, but he also destroyed the life of the poor foreign student, Babakar, and caused Raihana and her daughter Ifat to travel from Bombay to Jeddah without their Indian passports. Finally, his evil, just like happened to the Sudanese boy, will land the mother and daughter in prison in Saudi Arabia. Therefore, the incredibly angry Sheikh Ahmed decided that it was time for real revenge. Mohammed Khan will feel the full force and impact of Sheikh Ahmed's wrath as he exacts the ultimate punishment and revenge on his evil former car driver. He wants to implement on him the vigilante justice without the aid of Indian corrupt cops or dangerous Muslim gondas. He decided to drop him into the hole he himself had dug for others. Before carrying out his revenge, he paid a bribe of 25,000 rupees to the senior passport officer and demanded that the Indian passports of Raihana Khan and her daughter Ifat Khan be reissued and handed over to him immediately. The passport officer pulled out the two files, took out of them the photos of Raihana and her daughter Ifat, made new passports, and delivered them to the wealthy Arab man who claimed to be their Saudi sponsor on the same day. Sheikh Ahmed then went to the medical team of the 11 Saudi doctors at the 5-star Oberoi Tower Hotel and told them that the meeting with the highly qualified Indian nurses had been cancelled due to a major fraud by the travel agency he had entrusted the contract to it. He told them clearly that it has been brought to his attention from exceptionally reliable sources that many female candidates are not qualified as nurses. Some of them are still studying in nursing schools, and some have never attended any nursing school. Worse still, some of them obtained fake medical certificates and got through bribes stating that they had 5 to 10 years of experience working in hospitals when in reality they had no experience. The travel agency accepted their applications because they paid huge bribes and commissions. The 11 Saudi doctors were shocked and angry when they heard that such fraudulent practices had occurred at a reliable recruitment agency. Sheikh Ahmed promised them that he would search for a reputable Indian travel agency and transfer the contract to this new Indian agency. The doctors thanked Sheikh Ahmed for his honesty and sincere efforts in exposing this ugly conspiracy in a timely manner. On the advice of Sheikh Ahmed, the 11 doctors changed their booking and returned the same night to Jeddah with the same Saudi contractor. On board the plane, Sheikh Ahmed told the medical team that he had contacted a reliable recruitment agency in New Delhi and arranged interviews soon for the required number of highly qualified and experienced Indian nurses. Meanwhile, the Indian client Mohammed Khan spent every rupee he had in the bank to prepare all the arrangements for this special event and major business deal. He also borrowed a huge amount of money from several banks in Bombay. He's supposed to get a lot of money from the 550 selected nurses. Each nurse is supposed to pay 300,000 rupees to Mohammed Khan Tourism and Travel Agency if she is selected. 300,000 multiplied by 550 equals 165 million Indian rupees. This huge amount is equivalent to approximately 2,357,142 US dollars. So the greedy man thinks he will become a millionaire overnight. Mohammed Khan had already paid for the hotel accommodation of the 12 Saudi doctors who came for interviews, the Sheikh Ahmed Hotel, and also paid for the prestigious Islamic school he had rented for the scheduled gathering of 1,500 nurses. He hired several off-duty security personnel and police officers. He also spent every rupee he had in the bank to prepare for this lifelong opportunity and huge business deal. Never before in the history of Bombay had a travel agency undertaken such a massive recruitment of Indian labor to any Arab country. For this reason, all media outlets announced this upcoming event, and local TV channels and radio stations broadcast news about the recruitment of a large number of Indian nurses in Saudi Arabia. Therefore, hundreds of journalists and other media professionals, male and female, decided to cover this major event. On Sunday morning, Mohammed Khan and all his staff arrived at the Islamic school 2 hours before the interview time. Even his wife, sons and daughters came to help at this great event in the history of his travel agency. He also called many of his friends and relatives and invited them to come watch the distinguished event. He promised to pay all volunteers for their hard work. He even promised to serve them breakfast, lunch and dinner. He is supposed to feed all his employees, 6 female employees, 1 male employee, a janitor, security men, and male and female policemen. He appointed all the male and female teachers in the Islamic school, including the principal. He selected some senior male and female students from the 10th, 11th and 12th grades and promised to pay them good wages and provide them with 3 nutritious meals, including sweet dishes, soft drinks, tea and coffee. The interview is supposed to start at 10 in the morning and continue until 10 at night on Sunday. Chapter 39. The Mass Attack of Nurses on a Black Sunday. From 6 o'clock on Sunday morning, the prospective nurses have begun to gather outside the fenced schoolyard. By 8 o'clock, every female candidate has arrived. All 1,500 nurses have come in time for their interviews, and not one nurse is missing. Each nurse came with at least 3 relatives and 2 girlfriends for emotional support. In India, young people are considered to be very weak emotionally due to various reasons. Many students committed suicide because they failed their 12th grade exams or could not obtain high enough test scores to enable them to get admission into medical or engineering colleges. It is also quite common practice for lovers to kill themselves because they were forsaken by their loved ones, and girls took their lives because their parents forced them into arranged marriages. Others committed suicide for failing to get visas to OPEC countries, or their applications were rejected for immigration to Western countries such as Canada, America, and Australia. Even a rape victim, like the late beautiful Bulbula Sheikh, is expected by the Indian society to kill herself, which sadly she did it. On this most important day, the nurses bring with them their parents and boyfriends or girlfriends for encouragement and emotional support in case they are rejected. Some of them came from out of town as far away as the cities of Pune, Aurangabad, Nagpur, Baroda, Surat, Ahmedabad, Devlali, and Nasik. The out-of-town nurses and their parents stay in local hotels and motels. They spent a lot of money on travel expenses and hotel accommodation in Bombay. Every nurse knew that she was facing a cutthroat environment and the competition would be stiff. Out of 1,500 female candidates, only 550 nurses would be selected, leaving almost 1,000 hopes disappointed. None of the female candidates knew exactly what the interview doctors were going to ask, nor on what basis she would be judged. Almost all nurses have more than 5 years of experience working in the best hospitals in their cities. All of them graduated from the best nursing schools. All of them look pretty and very pleasing to look at. In India, people believe that air hostesses and nurses must look pretty and very appealing to the airplane's passengers and the hospital's patients. So, on this day of opportunity, every nurse is worried that she might be rejected because other nurses might look more beautiful than her. There is a general belief in India that Arab men love girls with big bodies and beautiful faces. Of course, that belief has a huge amount of truthfulness to it. The truth is based on thousands of years of interaction between the people of the Arabian Peninsula and the people of the Indian subcontinent. Unfortunately, most Indian girls are extremely beautiful, but very few of them have big bodies. Indian men do not like girls with big bodies. They are very much influenced by the criteria of the film industry of Bollywood, which is copied from Hollywood. For example, the superstar Aishwarya Rai is called the Queen of Bollywood, and she is the highest paid film actress in India. She is also a former Miss World. An Arab man might reject Aishwarya Rai because she has small buttocks and breasts and no meat on her bones. The former Miss World, Priyanka Chopra, meets his requirements for a beautiful woman and fits his sexual desire to a T. She has an extremely beautiful face and sexy body that possessed a large backside and big boobs. Therefore, he can give all his wealth to spending one single hour in bed with her. For this particular day, it is not unusual for some crazy nurses to go to extremes and put on extra clothes to look bigger than they are, and some stuck extra padding inside their underwear and bra to increase the size of their buttocks and breasts. On this special sunny morning, the despicable man, Mr. Muhammad Khan, feels he is more important than the Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan, and his ugly wife, Mrs. Ghazala Khan, believes she is greater than the former Miss Universe and actress Lara Dutta. The greatest man in that holy ground is running around everywhere talking to everyone as though he is a senior delegate of the United Nations who has just arrived from Geneva in Switzerland. You could see him talking to one nurse here, and then suddenly he would disappear, reappear, and talk to another nurse there. He has many times carefully checked every security person and every police officer. He is carrying a handheld microphone in his left hand, a huge log journal, and a dossier in his right hand. Now and then he stops moving in circles and announces the interviewing medical committee will be arriving soon. The nurses are divided into 10 groups. Every group formed a long line of nurses standing and waiting patiently. Each queue contained 150 nurses. Their families and friends are not allowed to step inside the forbidden area of the Muslim school grounds. The schoolyard is treated as if it is a Muslim holy ground. Only the female pilgrims, security, necessary attendees and helpers are permitted to enter Heaven's Gate to gain access to the medical committee who came from the promised land of petrodollar country that flows with money and honey. Another qualification to enter Heaven's holy ground is that all female candidates have to be either Muslims or Christians, since female Hindus are barred from entering the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Hindus and the followers of other religions used to work in Saudi Arabia, but they were not allowed to come within 40 kilometers of the official holy cities of Mecca and Medina, which is known as Arid al-Hijaz, the land of pilgrimage. On January 19, 1997, there was startling news from Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, which said that the Saudi Arabian government would from that point on deny entry of all Hindus into Saudi Arabia. Following that royal decree, all Hindu employees and workers were expelled from the Kingdom of the Saudis. Some Hindus chose to convert to Islam and keep their jobs rather than leave the rich Arab country and return to their poor country. Christians are exempted from the ban because of the need for adequate armed forces and American armaments to protect them from the dangerous Muslim Shiites of Iran and Yemen. Of course, Jews are not allowed in that Muslim holy land because the Quran said they are brothers of monkeys and pigs and an accursed race. Up until 10 a.m., Muhammad Khan is not worried about the fact that the Saudi medical team has not arrived. He is sure that they will arrive at their stations in due course. The Saudi medical interviewers are supposed to arrive at 9:30 a.m., but from about 10 a.m., every second and every minute that passes by causes Muhammad Khan to become more and more impatient. When the clock struck 10:30 a.m., the nurses began to check their watches and ask each other about when the interviews would start. Each nurse has been told that the interviews would begin at 10 a.m. sharp. By 10:45 a.m., Mr. Muhammad Khan had become restless, waiting for the medical team to arrive, and his heart began to beat in his chest with a great thumping. He has also become paranoid, knowing every nurse is looking at him and everywhere he walks. He kept looking at the gate and then at his watch. His heart started to beat louder and louder. He is expecting to see the taxis of the Saudi interview medical team showing up at any moment. When all the watches showed the time at 11 a.m., the nurses began to voice their concerns so much that he began to sweat and tremble like a decrepit old geezer. The nurses have been standing on their feet under the blazing sun for more than 3 hours and waiting in lines even longer. Muhammad Khan came up with so many lies, you would have thought it was April Fool's Day. He created more and more excuses to silence the rising tide of discontent among the nurses. His long working experience with the Saudis taught him that they are incredibly arrogant and proud people. Because they are Arabs and the Prophet of Islam was an Arab, and because they are living in the holy land of Muslims, the Saudi people consider themselves to be the holiest and most righteous human beings on the whole planet. They look down upon all human beings residing on the surface of the earth. They even count themselves to be superior to other Arabs and Muslims. For this reason, Muhammad Khan felt it might be construed as an insult to telephone the five-star hotel and find out why the chosen people of Allah were late. If he does, he is sure to find himself on the other end of a barrage of insults for ordering the holy people of Allah to be at his beck and call. Starting at noon, the nurses broke up standing in the queues and confronted Muhammad Khan, his staff, and his family. They began to shout at them. Muhammad Khan's body is shaking and sweating from head to foot, and he fears the angry nurses might assault him and his family members and staff. He grabbed a big chair and sat it in front of him for protection. He ordered his family and staff to move to the raised platform. Then, he announced through his megaphone that he was going to phone the interview medical team and find out why they had not arrived yet. After this announcement, there is dead silence. The momentary silence allowed him to climb the platform where every angry nurse could see him in the open auditorium. He took his cell phone out of his pocket. Every eye is on him. Then he dialed the number to the front desk of the Oberoi Hotel and requested the girl who responded to transfer his call to one of the 10 rooms of the Saudi medical team. When the girl told him that the Saudi medical team had checked out the previous evening, he felt as if the school ceiling had collapsed and fallen on his head. His ears became deaf and numb. He tried to speak, but his voice failed him. For a few seconds, his heart stopped beating, and he could feel the blood rush from his face down to his feet, and he lost all 5 of his senses. When his lifeless body somehow intermittently came back to life, he began to shake and murmur unintelligibly. Some of the nurses, screaming and screeching, demanded an explanation for his silliness. He could not answer any one of them. His mouth was paralyzed and his body in great shock. His left hand dropped the microphone, and he waved to the objecting nurses to silence them. Greatly disturbed inside his mind, he thought maybe the arrogant Arabs had more than likely quarreled with the hotel staff for some silly reason, and then they checked out or moved to the Taj Mahal Hotel, where his valuable client, Sheikh Ahmed, was staying. Muhammad Khan had already told his important client there was no need for him to come before lunchtime. That remembrance brought some steadiness to his shaking hands and hence enabled him to dial the number to the front desk of the Taj Mahal Hotel. Mr. Muhammad Khan knows all the 550 visas are kept with Sheikh Faiz bin Ahmed. So, each lucky nurse who has been selected is expected to pay his agency in cash or through a check of 300,000 rupees and then receive her visa ticket to the Paradise Gate to her promised land, the land that flows with honey and money. This time, Mr. Khan decided to complain and inform his valuable client about the irresponsible and unacceptable behavior of the Saudi medical team. With some determination and a little confidence, he asked the girl at the front desk at the Taj Mahal Hotel, who responded to his call, to transfer his call to room number 2907. The pretty Indian girl had purposely made her feminine voice sound more sensual, and she politely thanked him for calling. She then transferred his call to room number 2907. Instead of hearing the loud and arrogant voice of Sheikh Ahmed, Mr. Khan heard the overly sweet and soft voice of a foreign girl. From her fluent English, he understood that she was not an Indian girl. At first, he thought that the dirty old geezer had picked up one of the pretty European drug addicts from one of the cheap motels in Colaba and brought her to spend the night with him in his deluxe hotel room at the Taj Mahal. His suspicion is confirmed when he remembers the case of the lovely virgin, Zareen Sheikh, and how he succeeded in stopping him from having sex with her and enjoying her beauty and charm the previous day. The following phone conversation took place in a loud voice, magnified by the microphone that Mr. Khan was holding in his other hand, which all the nurses could hear. However, the attentive nurses could only hear his end of the phone conversation and were quick to fill in the blanks. "Hello, ma'am. May I speak with His Excellency Sheikh Faiz bin Ahmed?" "Sheikh what?" responded the young white woman. "Sheikh Ahmed of Saudi Arabia." "I'm not in the Sahara Desert of Saudi Arabia. I am in the Taj Mahal Hotel in Bombay, India." "I haven't asked you where you are. Can you pass the phone to Sheikh Ahmed?" "My name is Diana Peterson. Also, I haven't asked you to tell me your name. Just hand over the phone to your man." The rudeness of his words annoyed the white woman, which led her to respond in kind. She switched to a lower level of language. "Fuck you!" shouted the white woman, and then she hung up the phone. Mr. Muhammad Khan did not give up. He called the front desk again and requested that his call be transferred to room number 2907. The same foreign young woman answered the phone and said, "Hello?" Muhammad ignored the foul language she used before, and he continued to be polite. "Ma'am, I want to speak to my Saudi client Sheikh Faiz bin Ahmed." "You are a fucking Indian. You just want to fuck me in my pussy. Fuck you, dirty Indian motherfucker. Stop teasing my ass." Mr. Muhammad Khan had never been spoken to by a woman in such a filthy manner before, and hence he could not control his temper. "I said I want to speak to the Arab man who picked you up from the streets of Colaba and fucked your pussy and ass all night." "Fuck you, you ignorant bastard. I will complain to the front desk about your stupid ass." "Shut up, bitch. Do you know those to whom the hell you are speaking?" "Fuck you, and fuck every motherfucking Indian in this stinking rat-infested country. Come see me at the Taj Mahal Hotel, and I will fuck you up, you ugly Indian dog. How dare you to call me a bitch? You are a penis-sucking whore. You're a filthy slut and shit-ass. You're a fucking dick-sucking and drug-addict prostitute." The young white woman disconnected the line. She could not match Muhammad Khan's street-level language. Even though the white woman had quit and hung up the phone, the outraged man continued to echo insults and filthy language into the phone. He even shifted from the common English street language of thugs to nasty Indian slum talk. "Mother chute, bahan chute, teri maa ki chute, teri bahan ki chute, chutiya salah." Either the nurses have enjoyed hearing that distasteful phone conversation, or they are too scared to interrupt. That is why none of them spoke a word or tried to interrupt his tirade. Not even his wife, sons, daughters, or staff tried to reprimand him for being disrespectful in public or trying to calm him down. Then, the extremely outraged Indian man, Mr. Muhammad Khan, changed his mind and decided to talk directly to the front desk and request someone to go and knock on the door of room number 2907 and tell His Highness Sheikh Faiz bin Ahmed to call him immediately because he has an exceedingly urgent matter to convey to him. However, this time the conversation did not last more than a couple of minutes. Mr. Muhammad Khan has given the name of his important Saudi client and his room number. Then he requested the front desk girl send someone to knock on his door. The pretty Indian girl quickly checked her computer and then politely told him that the guest in question had checked out last night and flown back to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. On hearing her words, Muhammad Khan fell off the platform and his lifeless body went tumbling down in front of the 5 nurses standing directly in front of him. He blacked out and became unconscious. When he opened his eyes again, he found himself in the hospital. His body has been wrapped in white linen from head to toenail. He could not move his limb. Every inch of his body has been bruised or gravely injured. His 2 legs and hands have been broken. He has lost all his teeth. His chin has been dislocated, 6 of his ribs are smashed, and his long beard has been pulled out, as if someone has pulled it out by its hair follicles. At the same time, he is in excruciating pain, despite all the painkillers running through his IV. If the devil incarnate miraculously managed to survive, he will never walk on his broken feet again. Between the time Muhammad Khan fell off the platform and from the time he has been revived at the hospital, he is conscious of nothing at all. From the time he closed his eyes and lost consciousness and the time he opened his eyes again, 12 hours had elapsed. During the 12 hours, he was unconscious and remained in a long comatose state. Misfortune and chaos reigned inside the sacred taboo house of Allah and outside on hallowed ground. When he fell off the platform, everyone started screaming. The place became wild and disorderly, and his wife ran down to try and help him. Hundreds of nurses are pushing and shoving and tripping over each other. Muhammad Khan had been trodden under many feet by scores of nurses scurrying everywhere like ants. The angry Indian nurses ran over each other and trampled on the bodies of the nurses who had fallen. Many of them had been crushed to death through a stampede. Mrs. Ghazala Khan feared that her husband might be crushed to death under the feet of the throngs of nurses. She used her cell phone and called the Bombay police force of anti-riots. But before the police arrived, she also got knocked down while trying to save the life of her unconscious husband. She was too crushed by the stampede of nurses. Some of the sharper nurses realized they had been scammed, and this was nothing more than a scheme to defraud them of money by the recruitment agency. Each nurse had already paid 25,000 rupees as application fees, and she is supposed to pay another 300,000 rupees if she has been selected and received her golden visa to Paradise Gate. The sad and disturbing news that there are neither interviews nor nurses' visas for Saudi Arabia has spread like wildfire, and that there is no Saudi medical team has come and brought visas. This caused many nurses throughout the school to faint and fall out. Many nurses were hurt, bruised and battered. Almost 500 nurses were admitted to nearby hospitals for some profoundly serious injuries. Other nurses in an un-nurse-like behavior, along with their parents, siblings, girlfriends and boyfriends, picked up stones and threw them at Muhammad Khan's staff. The envious girl, Rukhsana Rehman, Tahira Ali, the ugly Jamila Malik, Fatima Al-Zahra, Shabana Shah, the Virgin of Paradise Zareen and her brother Javed Sheikh, the janitor Maqsood Abdul Rab, and the other new employees have been all mortally wounded and taken in stretchers to hospitals unconscious. Muhammad Khan's wife, sons and daughters, and many volunteers and helpers have also been seriously injured. There are 79 nurses, and also around 40 volunteers have died. They died either at the spot or shortly at the emergency units in various hospitals. No one escaped being pummeled by stones. Angry nurses entered the classrooms and broke all the tables, chairs, benches, windows and doors, and set papers, books and notebooks on fire. Meanwhile, all off-duty policemen ran away in terror for fear of losing their lives. Even the security men either got knocked down or likewise fled like cowards from the battleground. After 1 hour, the anti-riots police came and dispersed the angry nurses and their families and friends with tear gas. Yet, the turmoil did not end at the taboo ground of Allah. Havoc ensued all over the bustling streets of the cosmopolitan city of Bombay when the news spread about what had happened at the holy Islamic schoolhouse of Allah. Some other nurses enlisted the aid of their girlfriends and boyfriends, sending them to the headquarters of Muhammad Khan's agency, where the boyfriends set both offices on fire and burned them down to the ground. It is a complete loss and total ruin of the business of the messenger of Lucifer. When the police arrived, they could not find anyone to arrest the setting of the fires. That day came to be known as Black Sunday, after Black Friday, in which Muslim terrorists caused 13 planted powerful bomb blasts to explode in 13 public places in Bombay and killed and injured thousands of innocent Indians. After the tragedy of that Black Sunday, the wicked boss remained in the hospital for a few weeks, lost his mind, became mad, and began to attack anyone who came near him until they chained him to his bed. Shortly after, he was declared a dangerous madman and transferred to a mental hospital. Eventually, the immoral man, the evil genius, the devil incarnate, the notorious womanizer, the rapist of innocent female employees, the false accuser of his two innocent male employees, Jamal and Babikir, the rapist and murderer of the late innocent and beautiful girl Bolbola, Muhammad Shaitan Khan has permanently lost his mind, and he is kept under lock and key, while his hands in shackles and his feet in fetters in a dirty cell at a mental hospital for extremely dangerous lunatic men at the outskirt of Bombay.